So my previous video was about making this mini sander designed by Cut Transform Glue. That whole video was actually hours and hours long, and I edited a lot out of it. And I missed a bit about designing the files to laser cut the sander disc and the sanding plate. So in this video, I'm just going to show you how I designed those two parts in Inkscape. So here we go, from where I left off. So now it's sticking these on. You know, my 3D printer, it's not fantastic. I'm going to cut some acrylic ones of this. Let's just measure these. Let's see what this is. So about seven centimeters. So that's 7 diameter. So the radius is going to be 3.5. So I need a circle about that big. Okay, so here I am in Inkscape, and when I'm laser cutting stuff, I always have the page in landscape mode because my laser cutter is landscape, so it's easier when I'm loading it to work that out. Okay, so let's create a circle first, but let's have a look at the fill and the stroke because I actually want this circle to have no fill. So if I just do it like that, it's coming with a fill. So let's turn off the fill and then go into the stroke, and that stroke's really fat, isn't it? How do I change that? Okay, so I really want this this really small, so at the moment that width is 5 point, whoa, huge. So let's put it to 0. I'll just do it 0.1 of a mil, maybe a bit smaller, 0.5. It's only got to be really tiny, the output line has, so you can barely see it on there. Maybe that's why I made it thicker. Let's make it 1 mil. So it should be 1 mil, and it should be red because the code that I've got cuts on the red. So on the stroke, let's set that to red. So I think I've put 255 there, which should make the circle red. That's it. Then hopefully if I do another circle afterwards, yeah, and I'm going to need to do a square as well. So yeah, so they're all coming through in red. So let's go in and just remove those objects. So the circle should be the easiest then. Let's start. So this is the bit that the sanding disc is going to fit on. So I normally start with Inkscape. I drag it to a size, and then I go in here and change the radius. So the radius was going to be 3.5. This is set to millimeter, so the radius has got to be 35, which of course then both of them have 35, which should give it a diameter of 70. All right, so that's okay. That's worked fine. Of course, for these, I'm going to have to work out how big are these holes. I think I'll be better off if I get Inkscape to do these, to put the holes in as well, as opposed to I drill these. So these holes they're about 3.5 radius, almost 4 mil radius there. The middle one doesn't matter, although it might be useful to have one in the middle. But what's the distance between them? Well, so these are in a square, aren't they? So the best thing that I can do is measure this. So they're approximately there. What's that, about 17? So hard to get the centre exactly, but yeah, about 17 mil. So if I do a square with 17 mil sides, then I can align those holes. So each hole was 4 mil across. So the radius there has got to be 2 mil and 2 mil. All right, and then we want 4 of these in the middle, don't we? So let's just commit that. And I think I need to zoom in a little bit. It's way too big now. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, yeah, that's good. So there's my 1 4 mil hole, and I've got to have 4 of those for the holes that are going to go into this here. So before I start that, I wanted these 17 mil apart. So let's get a little square and make this 17 millimeters. So one side is 17 and the other is 17. All right, so that's the distance these need to be apart. So go back to the select object, grab that. So if I put this so it is as touching in the corner as I can, then I'm going to do Control D, which duplicates it. So there's 2 objects there, and then I'm going to use the right arrow. This will keep the 1 dimension in line, and this has got to be, because to make these 17 apart, that's got to be the other side of the line. So that's approximately right, distance of 17 mil. Now I've got to do the ones at the bottom as well. So First of all, let's select this other one by holding down the shift key. So now I've got the 2 holes selected, and if I do group up here, which is that one, and then do Command D again to duplicate, now do the down arrow, you see that keeps them the same distance apart, keeps them in line, and so that now those holes should be 17mm apart. So I'm just going to grab the top one again, so hold down shift, grab the top group and group it again. So those 4 things now are one object. If I go into the square and try and move this, if I got the square in the dead center, I mean, that's probably not dead center, but that's pretty good, isn't it? So you see the center of those things, those holes are 17 apart. So that's how I get those sort of alignments. There's probably other ways to do it. It's not the way I do it. So delete that square, that's fine. And I wanted a hole in the middle as well, didn't I? Forgot about that. So let's just bring another hole up. Do it the same way, so 2 and 2. Obviously these are circles, they're not holes. These will cut out as holes on the laser cutter that I've got. So that's my 3 objects, 1, 2 and 3, and I want all of these to be centered. So if I now select all of these, because this is a circle and everything's around a circle, all I've got to do is line them up so they're all on the same center. So align and distribute here, and then that aligns them all one way. Oh, hang on, something's gone wrong there. Let's go back a bit, Control Z. Something somewhere there. I've lost the groupings. Okay, these have for some reason lost the groupings. So let's grab that. They should be the same distance. Grab that and then do group selected parts. They should move together as one. That's it. All right, so select it all again. And now do that same thing. There we go. So that's made them all level up and down the screen. That there centers them horizontal. So that's my part. See, so it's quite easy to create that for this one. So the bus will connect onto that. Finally, as I've got these and I don't now want it to move, I'm going to group all those and then it will cut it in the right order. So it will cut these middle holes first before it cuts the outer hole, to stop the bits falling off the printer before they've cut the internal bits. So it's quite clever, it works that out itself. And I'm going to do the same thing for this. So these are bigger, so we've got 76 tall, and my calipers go this far? Yeah, 140 wide. Right, so 140 wide. All right, so that's good. Let's go to Inkscape and work that out. Now the sanding bed's going to be really simple. So let's just start to build that there. So this is going to be 140 width. So no worrying about the radius here. I can just do 140 and that should make it wider. Excellent. And then it was 76 deep. So 76 there. That's good. So I could do that as it was, but the original part, if you remember, has got curved edges. So let's just curve the edges a bit, and this is what this radius thing is. So let's say I'll curve it 10mm. So if I put 10 there, see it's curved those. I don't know whether I should do it a bit more than that. I don't know how big the radius was on the original part, the 3D printed part. Can't work that out. 15, is that too big? That's probably all right. Yeah, 15. There you go. All right, so that's my 2 parts. It really is as simple as that to design these using Inkscape. And the other thing that I'd do, I'd look at the piece of material that I had and maybe what I'd cut out of it before. And I might, let's zoom out a little bit. I might arrange it differently on the page. So if I grab this, I'll make sure that this is to the very edge of the page, so I'm not wasting any material. And probably for this one, if there's room on A4, I'm going to flip this, which I think is that one, rotate. Is there going to be room for that? Oh no, there might not be. Yeah, so on this one there's not, so I can't do it that way. But you see, so I'm only taking that amount of material. So I think for this one I'll cut it differently. I'll cut it along a line. So let's put that to the way it was and put that to the way it was there. And that'll save material. because I'm cutting this on acrylic, the acrylic's more expensive than plywood. I mean, plywood's not cheap at the moment. But the one last thing I'd do is that I'd go up and I would just print this. So if I printed this on a piece of paper normally, and then I'd get the original pieces and just overlay them and just make sure that they worked, or overlay the bush onto those holes, make sure it was lined up before I sent it to the laser cutter. Depending on what I've got cut out on the bit of acrylic already, I might separate these and cut these as two different pieces, and then I can lay them on the acrylic where I want when I'm printing them out. So I'm going to send this to the printer now and get it finished. So all that I'm going to say is goodbye. And then let's just fast forward through the rest of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye. Jetzt warten Sie, Sie, das ist nicht so, nicht go out.